A very good morning to you. Many thanks for joining us here on KBC Channel 1. You are just in time for BizCheck, and it is the third day of November. When we talk about November, we are talking about Black November, the month when retailers make crazy sales. There's a rush for discounts and promotions. We shall be having a conversation about that in just a little bit. My name is Betty Kiptum. Welcome to the program. Now, in studio, we have Wan Seko. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Jumia Kenya, and we want to talk about matters Black November. Welcome, Wan.
Thank you very much, Betty.
Karibu sana. So let us just start off with what is Black November and how did it come about?
So Black Friday, as we call it internally, and in the industry, is the month where everyone comes together in the ecosystem, not just Jumia as an e-commerce, but all the sellers, all the partners that we have come together to offer the best prices to our customers. It's literally, we call it Black Friday because it's really the month where most of our partners are going to be able to turn some of their numbers from the red, which in accounting it turns out to be a loss, to black, a profit month.
So in the developed markets where Black Friday has been a thing for years, it is the month that makes record sales. In Kenya, it has been around for a few years. How have you seen it perform, and what do you foresee for this year?
Yeah, for us, it's the most exciting time of the year. As an e-commerce, it's when we are able to leverage all the tools that we have at our disposal, all our partnerships, to make sure that the customers get the best offers, the best prices in the website available. That's when we are able to excite everyone to try e-commerce for the first time. So as a month, it's really when we try to bring everyone to try e-commerce for the first time, and for our customers that have been shopping with us for the longest time, they know that this is also the time when they can finally find good deals that probably they couldn't find in other offline or in other times of the year.
And how have you seen it perform over the years in the Kenyan market?
So over the years, when we started, it obviously took a bit of education and explaining to the customers what it meant, right? That black is nothing sinister, that it was a great opportunity for you to shop on Jumia. So over the years, we've been evolving. We've been bringing some other things that make it more exciting. In the past, we used to do the cow, or we've offered mbuzi for 100 bob. We always try to bring exciting offers to the customers to come and visit the website. This year, for example, we will start tonight at midnight with a Bebanaso offer. Basically, we will have hundreds of items available for 100 bob, from a TV, phones, but also groceries. Anyone can go shop on our flash sale that starts at midnight and try to find an item for 100 bob that they like. So
the e-commerce industry in Kenya accounts for about 2% of retail sales. That is still very low, and it means there is a lot that needs to be done. What is Jumia doing, and what more can the industry do to improve e-commerce sales?
Yeah, 2%, you can see it as low, but it's a massive opportunity, right? It's the beginning of something huge. In the economy, we tend to look at it as a hockey stick growth expecting, right? When you think about a hockey stick, it's very low at the bottom, but then it goes into a long stick of growth. That's exactly how we see e-commerce right now in Kenya. In other parts, when you say 2%, it is a whole of retail share of the GDP, and retail share of GDP is massive, right? So it's early, it's 2%, but in some categories, phones, TVs, we are above that 2% for sure, because people feel more comfortable or have been accustomed to buy phones and TVs for a longer time. With COVID, what happened is that people started to, look more carefully at their items. There was no ability to go out onto the market, potentially staying at home. So they started to feel more confident, or were forced to look at other categories, such as beauty, groceries, etc. And that's what happened over the last couple of years. People starting to buy not just electronics, but anything that comes to mind when it comes to groceries, beauty, even home items, etc. And those are categories that have grown massively over the past 2 years.
Right.
In the past year, what is happening is that people are now seeing great offers. Their pockets are potentially a bit better because they see a bit more certainty in the economy and no lockdowns coming up. Obviously, there's inflation and other factors affecting it. But what we're seeing is a resurgence also of electronics, phones, TVs, are becoming again a bigger share of our sales.
As you mentioned, during the COVID period, there were some changes that happened. Did you have to expand some portfolios, or even introduce new portfolios to your array, so to say?
So the way Jumia works, it's a marketplace. In the same way that you have a marketplace in the offline market where people avail the space to sellers come and offer that, and customers coming, it's an online marketplace. So as an online marketplace, a seller, anyone can come to the platform, log in, enroll themselves as a seller and offer any item that they think would be at a good price. It's up to the seller to then, make his price the most attractive, make sure that the content, as we call it, but basically how you describe that item, that the pictures are attractive, etc. And that's how we train also our sellers to say, this is how you should sell online and how your sales will increase. So as opportunities come, the marketplace itself evolves into that. Sellers will figure out that, it's a time for groceries, it's a time for electronics, and they compete against each other to make sure that the best price is then available to the customers. And the customers, in the same way that when you go to a market, you look for the best prices, the same thing happens on the Jumia platform. And that's what we offer, the platform to avail anyone to sell and for any customer to shop.
Right. During that COVID period, this demand and also the lack of physical movement pushed some retail stores that are only brick and mortar to come up with, online sales websites, so to say. So is this competition that came in for you, and how are you handling it?
Actually, it's not competition. It was great for us. What it meant is that people that potentially were a bit reticent to go online because they saw it as a threat, figured out that this was a new channel for them where they could make, an expansion. Jumia is an amazing tool for you if you are an offline only player. Not only because, you can tap into the whole market, into the whole country from one point of distribution, but we avail the website for all the customers to shop, but also anything that comes behind it. You can have your stores, your good store at that warehouse. You can literally operate shop for the whole country from Jumia. So many of these offline retailers that came on Jumia during COVID have now seen to trust online as a great distribution channel for them.
So as Black Friday is coming up, there'll be a very huge influx of customers on the websites, trying to secure deals. And also the payment bit of it. How are you working to make sure that websites don't crash and people don't miss out on their deals because of, an internal issue?
Yeah, I can tell you that past month or even 2 months has been all about preparedness, right? We've been doing, a lot of tech effort to make sure the website is ready to go, tenfold, accept 10 times the traffic that we usually have, make sure that there's no, as you say, that there's no crashes and there's redundancies in place in case that happens. So everything is already set up to make sure that, if we go way beyond what we expect, which is already massive, that we are ready to handle it. When it comes to customer, experience and making sure that they have the best experience when they shop online, again, fully ready. I can tell you the team has been working crazy hard. We will be going back to the office at 8 p.m. to make sure everything is ready and working overnight. There will be extra trucks delivering from midnight all the way down to morning to make sure that deliveries are starting to happen as soon as orders start to come at midnight. So there's a lot of extra effort that's been put in place, and the whole team is gonna make sure that we deliver.
All right. I'm curious. You're saying that there's an offer for 100 shillings on everything. Of course, other retailers are going to have various offers. For the retail market, how do you make such sales make business sense?
No, exactly. So it's an effort. It's a way of making sure that people shop online for the first time. It's a way to make sure that people come into the website and see other offers that are going to certainly be appealing. So some of it you can see as a way to entice customers to go and browse. Some of it is genuine offers from partners that are really, bringing that offer to also, figure out that that's going to bring customers to shop later on. What you want is to have this opportunity that customers are going to come to the website, try it, feel excited about, getting an item for 100 bob. Next time they will shop and come for whatever else that they feel they trust. It's about us making sure that it's an investment to make sure that customers try it for the first time and then continue shopping online, because shopping online is the most convenient way to shop once you trust it. There's no, I myself shop online all the time. I'm not going back. Certainly there are items that you shop offline that maybe you cannot see online, or that you want to, there are some specificities to it that you want to check. But shopping online as a way of saving time and saving money is definitely the way to go. And we want to make sure that people try it for the first time, or if they have tried it before and having doubts of coming back, then this is the way to make sure that they come back.
You have seen a number of memes going around. I mean, what you order versus what you get. How is the e-commerce industry working to make sure that what they promise is what they actually deliver?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you go on that takes education also, and it takes practice, even as a shopper of online. If you go on Jumia, for example, you will see we have a seller score. A seller score is our way of telling the customer, hey, beware of this customer, or by the way, this is an amazing customer. There's also the customer reviews. We tell people, as soon as you make an order on Jumia, please do make a review of your order. How was it? Was it up to the expectations? And that also goes into the seller score. The seller score is not only the customer reviews, it's also performance. Is it delivering the item on time to us so that we ship it to the customer? Is it delivering the right item so that we don't have to cancel the order, back to your point, or having the customer frustrated that he didn't get the right color that he wanted or the right item? So all of that is making sure that the marketplace over time behaves in a way that makes, takes the customer as the first, guardian, if you want, of the whole marketplace.
As you anticipate this influx of sales and orders, there is bound to be a mishap somewhere.
Yeah.
How are you preparing for it, especially things like delays, or as you said, just receiving something you did not order for? How are you preparing for it, and how do you make sure that you do not lose this customer who has come in, say, for the first time, and then this is their experience?
I can tell you that's the major obsession that we have. Like, the only way we prepare is by over-preparing. So we make sure that all the items are already, for the items that we think are going to sell the best, they're already inbounded since the last couple of days. The team is over-prepared to make sure that if there's a mishap, immediately there's going to be an order, coming up to replace that order that we have lost. It tends to be a very infinite number of orders that happen, but obviously they make a lot of noise when they happen.
Yes.
What we try to make sure is mitigate those frustrations, call the customer immediately, for example, if we see that is happening, and ask him, do you want to replace it? Do you want to cancel the order? Let's not forget that also Jumia avails cash on delivery for all the items. So as a cash on delivery, what that means is that you only pay once you see the item, once you are convinced that's what you want. If you buy at the time of delivery and it turns out that that's not what you want, you still have 14 days to return it. So we're trying to make sure that the customer's experience is as good as possible and mitigate all those frustrations that we know can happen. But if they happen, there's always a fallback.
And what are the new trends in the market right now?
So in terms of new trends, as I told you, last couple of years, what we saw people is really trying to buy other things apart from electronics, beauty. So this year we have, Garnier coming in, Nivea, for example, as a gold partner. But as that progressed, and we have also groceries becoming part of the baskets that customers buy online. Over the last year, we saw also electronics having a resurgence. So phones, we will be having phones at less than 10K. Transsion, who is the matrix behind Infinix, Techno, and itel, is what we call a platinum partner. So they will be co-sponsoring the event and availing, amazing prices on all their phones. We will have phones at below 10K. We will also have TVs below 10K. So, what we see also on the TVs is that people are moving towards bigger size TVs, right? What used to be 32-inch, now people are feeling comfortable in buying 43-inch because the prices make sense for them.
All right. Currently, the world is going through some sort of a recession. High inflation is hitting economies world over, and the purchasing power of most people has greatly reduced. How do you foresee this impacting the sales this month? So,
positively, for sure.
Positively?
We're going to try to make the best out of this situation for our customers. The unique selling proposition that we worked around is, Dirjaleo Bellajana. We really are working hard with all our partners, all our dealers, all the brands that are behind, the products that you see online, to bring the prices to almost prices that you hadn't seen in a while, precisely because of inflation. As a result, we do think that people are going to be very conscious when they see these deals, and they're going to say, well, this is my opportunity to get, this item. Potentially, if I wait a month, I'm not going to have this price. So now it's the time to buy it. So we really think that it's an exciting time, if you are cost conscious, and the pockets of everyone are affected with inflation. That's the reality. Fuel as well. But as you are conscious, you want to make sure that you maximize your available income for those things that you need, and that's what we're trying to make.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, because I think most people have been holding from purchasing non-essentials, so to say, in the house. So when they see it at a price that makes sense for them, or mostly does not make sense on paper, they will purchase it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a big effort from everyone, right? If you think of our retail perspective, you could very well sell an item of, let's put an example of 10,000 and try to make 10% margin on it. Or you can sell 10 items at the same price, but only make 1% margin on it. That's, it's a volume game, as we call it in retail. And that's really what we're trying to bring, like convince all the partners, all the brands that let's make sure we bring the prices to the minimum possible so that customers come online and find the best deals. And that's really what's going to happen this Black Friday in Jumia.
For most of the online bits, for e-commerce, most of what the customer sees is the online part, purchasing and all that. But for you as the platform or the company that sells, there's a lot of hardware to it. There is the warehousing issues, the transportation and everything that goes on behind the scenes. Kenya has had shortage in warehousing for a while. How are you dealing with this? How has your experience been since you entered the market, and how are you positioning yourselves to handle your cargo, so to say, in a better way?
By adapting little by little. You are totally right. It's not just a website. It's a massive operation behind, and it's not just Jumia. It's all our 3PL partners. We work with all of the 3PL partners in the market, right? Whether it's 3GS, Wells Fargo, etc. And all of them are connected to our network. So when an item is ordered by a customer, what happens is that we bring it into what we call our logistics network. You bring it to a drop-off point as a seller, and then we will make sure we ship it. If we have it already in the warehouse, because we offer that as an option to our sellers, then we can ship it directly. What we have been doing over the last years is adapting. Since I joined, we just moved to a new warehouse, which is way bigger than the one before, but we had already previously moved from another warehouse in Babadogo. So this is now the third warehouse in the last 5 years that we're using, and keep increasing to make sure that operations are smoother. The last warehouse is really state-of-the-art in many ways, because it's what we call, the whole warehouse is not just a storage place, but it's also a sorting space. So as items are being picked, they're already being sorted and shipped, or even what we call technically consolidated, meaning you have items from different vendors that are part of the same order. We are putting them together in the warehouse and at the same time shipping them. So the warehouse is as much a distribution point as it is a storage place, and that has made the operations way smoother. And people, I think that as they come to show, they will see that orders are coming way faster than they had in the past, at least for sure in the closer areas of Nairobi.
As much as you can improve efficiency in matters warehousing, there are some things that are beyond your power, really. Things like transport costs. Fuel prices have been going high. How are you foreseeing the current fuel prices will impact sales at this moment, and how are you handling that?
So from a customer perspective, they obviously affect their pockets. As I was saying, we are confident that the prices we are giving are once, in a while opportunity to shop for items that you were thinking that maybe you thought the price don't make sense. But now we're really trying to get the prices that make sense to the customers. From an operational perspective, yes, it's true. Prices have gone up, fuel has gone up, the cost of deliveries are gone up. We are just trying to manage and make sure that we're still making the customer experience as smooth. The customer should not feel necessarily that pinch, because that should be already embedded in the price. And the price is really going to be amazing for this coming month for most of our customers.
Let's hope that they experience that joy.
Yes.
We are talking about matters e-commerce here on BizCheck at KBC Channel 1. We are talking about Black Friday. It's happening this month of November. Most retailers are choosing whatever Friday they want to have that happen, but we're talking about how to make sure that you as the customer are benefiting the most. This conversation is with Wan Seko. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Jumia Kenya. You can interact with us on Twitter. We are at KBC Channel 1. My personal Twitter handle is at Betty Kiptum. Talk to us. What has been your experience of Black Friday? Are you planning to participate this year? Do you trust e-commerce? What are your issues? And we shall be just sampling your views as well as your questions during this particular conversation. We want to take a quick break. When we come back, this conversation continues. Stay with Channel 1.
Kanye was still a billionaire after he separated with Kim Kardashian. But when he separated with Adidas,
now
is when
he
became
he lost
a billionaire.
No. What do you mean?
So the thing is,
yeah.
There is more money in shoes than there is in women.
No.
No.
We are not going to be looking at things like that.
It is.
I think you should say the ex-billionaire. The titles never shed. Even when you decay, you say the late, you know. So the billionaire is the ex-billionaire. I think that would be fair enough for Kanye West, right?
Exactly.
Before I think of FIFA giving us more slots so that Kenya can be included, we should go the Malkia way.
No,
the ladies did the basketing and men, look at that. They went and hammered everyone.
Tumesupport hawa watu miaka ngapi? Tumesupport Harambee Stars.
No, I know.
How do you find it working at J&J?
I love it.
She's nice and cute.
That's not what I meant.
I intend to go back to school to further my studies.
That's one long way to get to the top.
Well, is there another way?
You know your head has not been in the game for the last few months.
You can't blame me.
Mimi nataka kuongelea hiyo. You know you're such a joke, eh?
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. And in this case, it's my hands.
Fula ni kuwa na marafiki.
Ni mzigo yako?
Mama. Tipo, unachukua my memories.
Angalia Mwenyezi Mungu, wallahi zile neema za Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, na Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hatawaadhibu hawa Waislamu, hatawaadhibu waumini, hatawaadhibu watu wa ummati Muhammad, hata watu wote duniani mpaka sasa hivi ni wako katika ummati Muhammad, ikiwa ndani yao mna watu wataendelea kufanya istighfar, ikiwa ndani yao kuna watu watatubu kwa Allah, wallahi Allah hatawaadhibu.
Biidhnillahi ta'ala tunazungumzia tauba ya kumtubia Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Nikisemaje? Mimi mwenyewe sikuwa Kamagera. Mimi nakuaga Driko. Naweza kuwa naambia himbo wenye uchwaro.
Na si useme uelewi sasa ukiitika
sielewi. Unakuaga Kamagera wewe?
Mimi anaka Kamagera.
Unajua njiste wewe?
Mheshimiwa, hiyo lugha mimi sielewi kidogo.
Naweza kuwa naambia koti uongo. Nikisema mimi ndio nilikuwa napigwa na huu mzingi. Na wewe
Ozori. Unasema uongo kwa sababu wewe mwenyewe ulikuwa pale na kazi ile kubwa ulifanya ni ya kuniibia mkiwa na hii baba yako.
Baba yake, baba ya nani? Baba ya nani? Sina swali lingine mweshi. Nikieleza mahakama watu huwa wanafanana, so you identify me like a missing whatever. Ndakuwa naeleza wrong.
I cannot forget you. You know you have a crocodile face.
Thank you for staying with Channel 1. You are watching BizCheck. In case you just joined us, my name is Betty Kiptum. In studio, we are talking about matters e-commerce, and to be specific, the Black Friday month. That is November. Many retailers looking to rake in sales during this month, giving crazy discounts. And we just want to know how that is making business sense for the retailers and also how that is benefiting you as a customer. Remember, you can always talk to us on Twitter. We are at KBC Channel 1. My personal Twitter handle is at Betty Kiptum. Tell us what you think, your experience of Black Friday, and we shall be sampling that within this particular program. In studio, I am with Juan Seko. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Jumia Kenya. Thank you for staying with us, Juan.
Thank you, Betty.
Let's talk about this Black Friday. I mean, there are 4 Fridays in a month.
That's correct.
Does a retailer just pick a Friday? Do you do it in one Friday? Is every Friday Black Friday? How does it work?
We use that catchphrase a lot. Every Friday is Black Friday.
Okay.
It starts tonight. So tonight is the first big Black Friday. It's when all the anticipation has been built. And from now on, every Friday of the month, we'll have a specific offer. So today, is the Beba Nassau, so you will have hundreds of items at 100 bob. The following Friday is the 11th of the month. So we came up with the 11% discount. It's the 11th of the 11th. So you will get 11% discount on your purchases when you shop next Friday. On the third Friday, we will have free pickup shipping across the country. So wherever you are in hundreds of our pickup stations in the country, you can decide to ship it there for free. And then on the last Friday is when everyone comes together. That's when all the deals and even more deals are appearing at the same time, and when we really push for everyone to find the deal that they want. But in the meantime, during the month, we will also have what we call super brand days. Brand days are when we work with a specific, partnering brand. This year we have 6 gold partners. We also have Infinix, Tecno, itel. All of them will find a specific day. You, as a customer, you will find a specific day where all of their products are going to be massively discounted again. Great offers. So, you will have days with Nivea, you will have days with Infinix, and you can find all their products available on that day. And, as a retailer, we try to tell them that that's the day when they see their sales boom, because obviously we channel all of the traffic of the website into that specific brand.
Does it happen like this in all markets?
No, every market is different. We are trying to adapt to the consumer feedback that we're getting, right?
Yes.
Consumers telling us that I wish I had more groceries, and I wish I could see more things from Garnier, and I wish I could see more things from Nivea. And if we put it all on the same day at the same time, it's difficult to browse through the website, right? So we just try to give the breathing room across the month for people to find the deals that they want.
So I think that speaks to the importance of localization, for retailers, even beyond Black Friday month. The importance of localizing experiences, products for the market, right?
Correct. And I mean, not even products. I mean, it's even the experience. I mean, Kenya is amazing. We have M-Pesa. And, that has made our whole payment on delivery way smoother than you can find in other markets where cash is predominant. If you look at, the success rate that we have on our orders, it's way better than any other market. And that speaks to the predominance of M-Pesa in the market and people feeling comfortable in paying with M-Pesa. So it's not only that, it's also, as I say, operations, everything gets adapted to the market reality.
So for customers who are looking to make the most out of this time, what should they do? How do they get ready? I mean, is there a deadline to how the payment you should make by the time you you win the deal? At what time do you make the payment? Does it expire at some point? How do they get ready to make the most of it?
So I always like to compare buying online as buying in the supermarket. And actually it looks pretty much as intuitive as that, right? When you go to the offline supermarkets, you go down the aisle, you browse, you look for the items that you want in the category where you want it. If you want coffee, you go to the coffee section. If you want tea, you go to the tea section. And then you look for the brand that you like and the price that makes sense, and you add it to the cart. Once it's in your cart, you go to the payment aisle, and then you exit the supermarket. Buying on Jumia is exactly the same experience, except that it's digital. You have a website, you can have a search bar. In the search bar, just like when you do it on Google, you can put the brand that you're looking at. If you put specific brands, you will see sometimes the logo of the brand appearing that takes you to the official store. And the official store is actually us working in partnership with the official brand. we will have, for example, Adidas. Adidas will have a brand day, and it will be the official items of Adidas being available on the website, and you can see at the Adidas store on Jumia. As you add to that item, it will go to what we call the online cart. You check out, meaning you put your details where you want it shipped, your name, you pay, whether you want it cash on delivery or you want to pay it now, so that you get benefit of extra discounts from some of our partners. We'll have ABSA, Standard Chartered, giving, if you're a customer of them, you can pay with your card and have extra discount. And as you check out, then you just have to wait hopefully within 24 hours potentially, but a couple of days, and you will have your item. And throughout that journey, we will accompany you via SMS, email, and calling you to make sure that you are at your place, or that to tell you that the item is already available at the pickup station if you picked that.
Mm-hmm. For the product portfolio that you have, how would you say it is supporting the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative, so to say? I mean, just promoting locally made goods. How is it doing that?
Look, we have a predominance of local sellers selling on the platform. Okay. Not only that, 50% of the sellers are women. So it's exciting to see those numbers showing up. Mm-hmm. When we look at specific categories, you have traders for sure on electronics. When you look at fashion, you have guys that are pushing their items there and are able to sell great amount of deals, for their specific category, their specific items. Not only in Nairobi, but what's amazing is that you don't need to operate a store. You can be working from your home. You can be putting your items at our warehouse, and as customers come to online to shop for your items, they're being distributed by us across the country. Mm-hmm. So we really hope that the platform, and we give them support. We will train them. We will guide them. We will educate them, and we will upscale them into how to make sure that they leverage us to the best to sell their items across the country. So we really are aligned with that initiative, and we really push everyone that has local operation, local manufacturing to come on Jumia and use our platform to sell across the country.
Right. This is Wanseko, the CEO of Jumia Kenya, talking about matters e-commerce and how the Black November month, the Black Friday November, is going, and how it's going to just benefit companies as well as customers. Rachel Njiru, the Director of Partnerships Africa in FOBIP, is coming on set in a little bit to join us in this conversation to just give us an overview of how enterprises can leverage on technology during this month and even beyond to increase sales. We want to take a quick break. When we come back, the conversation continues. Stay with Channel One.
Kanye was still a billionaire after he separated with Kim Kardashian. But when he separated with Adidas,
now
is when he became
he
lost a billionaire.
No. What do you mean?
So the thing is, there's more money in shoes than there is in women.
No. We are not going to be looking at things like that.
It is.
I think you should say the ex-billionaire. The titles never shed. Even when you decay, you say the late, So the billionaire is the ex-billionaire. I think that would be fair enough for Kanye West, right? Exactly. Before I think of FIFA giving us more slots so that Kenya can be included, we should go the Malkia way. The ladies did the basketing, and men, look at that. They went and hammered everyone.
Tumesupporta watu miaka ngapi? Tumesupporta Harambee Stars miaka ngapi?
No, I know.
You are the light, the guide of our life. You're the essence of beauty, the best of mankind. Forever you'll be.
Angalia Mwenyezi Mungu, wallahi zile neema za Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Na Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hatawaadhibu hawa Waislamu, hatawaadhibu waumini, hatawaadhibu watu wa ummati Muhammad, hata watu wote duniani mpaka sasa hivi ni wako katika ummati Muhammad, ikiwa ndani yao mna watu wataendelea kufanya istighfar, ikiwa ndani yao kuna watu watatubu kwa Allah, wallahi Allah hatawaadhibu.
Biidhnillahi ta'ala tunazungumzia tauba ya kumtubia Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
The light, the guide of our life. You're the essence of beauty, the best of mankind. Forever you'll be.
You know, Contra, I haven't forgotten about the fire that you threw in my cousin Teddy Hart's eyes.
Hart Foundation, your family is littered in tragedy. We're gonna finalize it when the black flag of Contra reigns high over the bodies.
Davey Boy Smith Jr. stepping up to Contra. What the hell? Who is that? Yeah! Let's get a hell of a super kick. It's Pillman. It's Pillman Jr.
Hart Foundation.
I already stopped fighting and I decided to give up. They say that you've changed, but honestly, I find that hard to believe.
Valentina? Fed, are you all right? I'm glad you're all right. Valentina!
I think there's something between the two of you. I don't know, something more than mere friendship. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Mom. I'm telling you, Alexis and I are just friends.
And you still need to tell me why you weren't able to get out any money from the emergency account of the hotel.
Because somebody emptied it.
What?
Julieta, I beg you. I'm dehydrated. I'm so thirsty.
What's that? I thought you'd never beg for anything.
I beg you. Please let me go.
They not only emptied the hotel account to transfer money to yours, it only took them 2 hours to take the money from your account. And they transferred it to what seems to be somebody else's bank account.
No, this can't be happening because this is fraud.
Welcome back. You are watching BizCheck on KBC Channel 1. In studio, we are having a conversation about e-commerce and specifically the Black Friday month, that is November, and how retailers are leveraging on this month, giving discounts, ensuring that you're getting the best deals possible. In studio, we have Rachel Njiru, the Director of Partnerships Africa at InfoBip. She has just joined us. I have been Wan Seko, the CEO of Jumia Kenya. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you.
Could you just give us an overview of, say, how this particular month, how enterprises, retail enterprises can leverage on this month to make the most?
We need to start looking at Black Friday as not just a one-time event that happens on one particular day, and look at it that an event that opens up as businesses towards an entire era of shopping through the month of Christmas, where there's early shoppers, there's bargain hunters during the month, there's people who've been saving to buy their family gifts and clothing. You know, schools will be closed during that time, so there'll be a lot of trading happening as well. It's a time we start planning our businesses to take full advantage of the end-to-end opportunity from pre, during and after, and using the opportunity not only to increase our sales in our retail shops, but to convert them into acquisitions for future.
Acquisitions for future, acquiring new customers, you know, and even businesses for the future. For you, Juan, when you hear what Rachel has just said, is it something that you have seen happening on your platform?
Yes, and I can only agree. As I was saying earlier, to us, this is the month where we catalyze the whole ecosystem, the partners, the brands, the retailers that are working with us to make sure that we avail the best prices and, you know, entice the customers to shop on Jumia, whether it's for the first time or whether, you know, it's been a while since you shopped and you want to come back and try the experience again. It's when we, you know, fidelize our customers. And, you know, to her point, it's totally right. It's also, you know, schools will be closed, so it's an additional factor for people to shop, not only on the e-commerce, but also, you know, we also have Jumia Food. So you will have, you know, people shopping from restaurants that they prefer online and bringing them to their homes and, you know, spending more for, you know, night dinners with the family.
So for online customers, what are they looking for? I mean, the array, the options, or rather the answers to that question are very wide.
Yeah.
But what is the profile of an online customer?
And it depends. And it covers the whole spectrum. You know, you have the savvy online customers that, are the first ones to jump to the new wave of technologies. Probably they have been having a smartphone for a while. They have shopped in other websites, or they believe that online is the way. And those guys or those customers will be very familiar with the online shopping. You have people that will have heard about it, or they have heard the friends and family, I've heard about Jumia, but I've never tried it. And this is when they will try to come for the first time, because they've seen the billboards, they're seeing our ads, and they've seen the prices that we're offering, so that entices them to buy. And when it comes to shopping habits, the whole spectrum is available, and that's what we're trying to explain to customers. It's not just electronics, it's not just TVs or phones. You can find anything you want. Like Kiptum is available on the website, and from groceries, beauty, home, fashion, you will find it on the website. You just need to browse as you would browse in a big supermarket.
For you, Rachel, when you listen to what Juan has just said about customers and how you profile them, for businesses as they prepare to receive this customer, what do they need to have in place to make sure that they are meeting the needs of that customer?
The first thing is understanding what you want to achieve with the strategy that you create for your business. There's a very thin line between bringing the customer to your website and keeping them in that website for the next 5 seconds. It's the first 5 seconds mean a lot. So it's about the form of your site. What does it make me feel? How do I feel when I'm there? And then I'll challenge you, we need to start spending more customer support. The journey to creating a good strategy should not just be about the journey of itself. How am I going to order? How is it going to be delivered to me? There's also, what support am I getting? I think we spend so much on marketing, Black Friday and sales around that time. We forget what kind of aftercare we're giving to our customers, and not only aftercare, also during the shopping experience. So those are the spaces I would want us to look much better going forward.
So for the enterprises now, what tools are available, and how can they, even the ones who do brick and mortar, how can they leverage on this market that is yet to even, it's at 2% of retail sales. That needs to be pushed higher. How can brick and mortar retailers push themselves into that market and leverage on it?
There is a lot of opportunities when it comes to joining the e-commerce side. When you look at the numbers that we currently have for social media, for example, if you cannot afford to go online with your own website, you can start with the social media. But the same concept applies. Look at it as your website. When you click on your page, if you're selling clothes, and I click on your page, how do I feel? What information is there? Do I have proper description of goods? Also, reach out. You'll be surprised, and I would like you to also tell our small, medium enterprise businesses, MSMEs, on how to get on platforms like Jumia. And also, let's start creating policies around merchant acquisition onto e-commerce sites. And the information is there, but let's make it public. Let's create this in a format that can be easily consumed by everyday retailers in Nairobi CBD, for them to know what they need to join these platforms. Because it seems like it's far to reach, but with the information we have, it's actually very quick to be onboarded as a merchant on the e-commerce sites if you cannot afford to build one for yourself.
But isn't maybe something that the industry can do on its own to make sure that there's awareness? The government can't do it on its own. They'll probably create the policies and make the environment work for both businesses and the SMEs, as you've said. But can't the industry do more to ensure that there's awareness creation?
So, the more players, the easier it will be. It's all about awareness, as you're saying. So, on Jumia, as a seller, it's free to join. If you are, an MSME, as we were saying, you can join Jumia for free, and you can make your goods available across the country on the platform. We will train you on how to make your goods available, making sure that the experience that you see when the customers are browsing for your product is enticing for them to shop. And the whole support, the whole infrastructure to make that available, that's on us. We have a massive customer service that is there to call the customer in case of hiccups. We have a logistics network that is coordinating where the 3PLs actually taking care of the deliveries to make sure that the items are being delivered on time. And we control, also we manage the sellers to make sure that they're bringing the goods on time, that it's the right goods that the customers ordered, to make sure that the items are being delivered as per the specifications of the customer.
You have something to add?
Yeah, outside of creating awareness as an industry, because that might be far-fetched, because it's broader, it's going to take a while. The journey has started. It will take a while before we get there where we are comfortable that every retailer understands the journey and what it takes. I would challenge the retailers. The information is out there. Before it gets to you, seek it out. Let's see it in our shops. You know that dream you had when you ordered your first order and it came to the shops and everything was shiny and the lights were nice? Let's keep that goal. Let's keep pushing for it. So how can I get here? Ask. If I want to get on Jumia and I don't know how to, I'll go and start looking at shops. Who is there? What are the other stores that are there? And I'll find a store and I'll go sit in that person's store and I'll go like, how do you sell on Jumia, by the way? I see your customers are picking up stuff here from Jumia. How do you do it? Let's consult within ourselves. We have a lot of information in this country. We are such intelligent business people in this country. We have a lot of this knowledge. Let's share it among ourselves. I might not know you need the information until you ask. So ask your neighbor first while we come to you with the information eventually.
I like that. I mean, there are some stores, I'm speaking from experience, there are some stores that you go into, they have great products, the market, you know, their niche market that exists. That market is online, but this business is not online. So they are missing out on a lot. So definitely businesses need to take advantage of those opportunities that are there.
And let's not be scared about online. COVID taught us one thing. We need to adapt and adapt quickly. We were scared about online. Oh, the goods might not come on time. I might have to not get my refund or something. We now even have cash on delivery options available to make the journey easier by making different payment options available. So let's not be a bit too strict as well. Let's adapt to things that are changing. Online since COVID, everybody, I think in this Nairobi, we start with our city, I think 90% ordered something during COVID. We couldn't leave our houses, so how did we stuff?
That is very
So let's
true.
get out there. We did it before for 2 years. We can now do it for the next 10.
We can do it for the next 10. Well, Jiru, she's coming back with more information on that. We want to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, this conversation about e-commerce continues. Stay with Channel 1.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Kakamega mpo. Stesheni uipendayo Ingo FM inakuletea road show ya mwaka katika kaunti ya Kakamega, Ijumaa tarehe 4 na Jumamosi tarehe 5 Novemba. Tarehe 4 Ijumaa tunazuru Mumias, Matungu, Shianda, Navaholo, Malava, kambi ya Mwanza, Lurambi, na tarehe 5 Jumamosi tukutane pale Kakamega, Hayega, Malinya, Bukura, Huisero, Mulwanda, Sabatia, Ekero na Mumias Town. Kutakuwa na vichekesho na burdan dosha. Pia utakutana na kikosi kizima cha watangazaji na waenzi wa Ingo FM. Usikose.
Radio Ingo, inginingini ya Mwitala.
Kakamega na yefu bwana.
Ni nini mbaya na nyinyi? Kwa nini mnanitafuta? Mimi tutakosana na nyinyi, mimi sitakagi hiyo mchezo. Kwani mko wapi? Munafanya nini hapo? Ati muna watch World Cup? Ngojea kidogo. Hata sitaki kukasirika tena. Jamani, mafansi wangu, hamjambo. Mimi ni Mama Kayaiwa Vitimbi. Ningependa tu kuwaelezea kwamba KBC Channel 1 peke yake ndio itaonyesha World Cup. Yangu ni kuambia watazamaji wote msikose kuwatch World Cup katika KBC Channel 1. Asanteni sana na kwaherini. Basi endeleeni kuangalia. Yes.
Welcome back. This is BizCheck, and e-commerce is the conversation we are having here. My name is Betty Kiptum. I'm with Wan Seko, the CEO of Jumia Kenya, and Rachel Njiru, the Director of Partnerships of Africa at Infobip. Thank you for staying with me, lady and gentleman. Rachel, before we went on that break, you were talking about how SMEs or just businesses generally should take advantage of the opportunities or the tools available online, right? Just go on that.
Okay. So outside of using the mediums that are available to you, which is your neighbors, your neighboring shop, to be able to do that, we also need to, for us to be successful in anything, we have to be proactive and we have to be hungry for the knowledge. If you want your shop to be successful and you're looking at your counterpart, there must be somebody you're looking at and aiming to want to achieve what you think you perceive they're achieving. Have a conversation. I miss days when we started our careers. I think most of us have gone through that, even on the career side alone, where you'd start spending time with people who are likely minded to just learn from them. So why can't we do that with our businesses? And some of this information, courses that are available are not even expensive to teach you how to navigate those waters. You were talking about business afraid to go online because somebody will copy, and we were asking the question, wouldn't you rather make 90% higher sales, or even 20, 30 from the online store, and 5 people have copied you, than making 0 out of that community, because that community will not have reached you. From 2022, the majority, from 2022 when it started after COVID, we've seen trends, and anyone can say this, there's more people wanting to buy online. In Kenya, we have a very unique place. Manufacturers are onboarding themselves to e-commerce websites. I don't know how many Kenyans know that you can actually go to this platform today and order your grocery list, not from a supermarket anymore, but directly from a manufacturer. Go check the prices. The prices are better from the manufacturer. So is the manufacturer afraid that they're undercutting the shop? Is the shop complaining? Let's take that aspect of growing our business, that growth mindset, and not being afraid of competition. There's tough competition always. Don't be afraid of the competition. Get ahead of it and don't stop adapting to the changes. And that's the only way we're going to be successful.
Adapting to the changes.
Yeah.
When?
I can only ratify that. I mean, if you are an offline shop, anyone in retail will tell you it's all about traffic. How many people come to your shop, right, to see the goods that you have? Going online is the way to have, multiply that traffic by the millions. We're gonna have millions of customers going to the app tonight at 11:59 p.m. when the flash sale starts. There will be more than 1 million customers just browsing for items. If you're a shop on our website, that's the market that you're tapping into, as opposed to having the most expensive offline shop in CBD and then only a few thousand customers shopping to your store. Same thing, and we make sure that happens. People will say, how do you know that there's going to be millions? Because we track the traffic. We know there's going to be millions, and we make sure that people are going to come with amazing offers. You know, at the end of the month, in the last Black Friday, we will be offering a matatu for $100 for the lucky customer that is going to come. So, you know, it's just making sure that people are going to be enticed to shop, and so that our sellers are able to tap into that customer base that they'll never be able to tap if they just stay offline.
So as we come to a close of this conversation, I'd like to hear your thoughts on matters the future of the e-commerce industry in Kenya and just the direction that retailers need to take to meet the needs of the customer. I'll start with you, Rachel.
There's a phrase that's used in the InfoWeb corridors a lot. We are just starting. Let us always just have that mindset, even in our own. I use it in my own. It's a company go-to line for everything we do, but I use it personally as well, and I'm telling people to start using it as well. You are just starting. Even when you make your mark, you reach your goal, you are just starting. There's a lot to learn. When you look at Jumia as a marketplace, I'm sure you're looking at Amazon and saying, I want to be the Amazon of Africa one day. I hope so. And maybe you're already reaching that target and the goal, and when you get there, there's a bigger goal to go. So let's keep learning and unlearning and moving and not being afraid to face new challenges.
Continuous learning and growth.
Yes.
Very important one.
I mean, there shouldn't be any fear to go online. That would be my message to retailers. Come to a website, you will see, I want to become a seller on Jumia. We will guide you through that whole journey. It's not, you know, you're not coming into this journey by yourself. You will be trained by our staff that is really making sure that you're going to be able to deliver the sales that you want. And as a customer, I say the same thing. There's really no fear of online. When you come to Jumia, you know, we're going to make sure you can pay on delivery so that you only pay when you get your item. If you don't like the item that you got because it doesn't fit you, because it's, you know, it's not up to the specs that you wanted, no problem, you can always return it within 14 days. We are really making sure that the experience is seamless across the board, and you can try it anytime.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your thoughts.
Thank you.
I have been speaking with Juan Seko, the CEO of Jumia Kenya, as well as Rachel Njiru, the Director of Partnerships Africa at Infobip. We have talked quite a lot on matters e-commerce. Be sure to take advantage of those deals tonight and throughout every Friday, so to say. And for the retailers, make sure you're making the most in terms of onboarding new customers, new products, and just growing your business. Well, this is BizCheck. We want to take you to Sarit Center, where the International Industrial Expo of 2022 is going on. Let's just listen into what is happening there.
It's really grown. In 2021, we enjoyed a GDP of 110.3 billion US dollars. And with our GDP per capita growth of 5.1%, the GDP per capita in 2021 has also gone up to the US dollars 1,643. This is now has really enabled Kenya to attract foreign direct investment cumulatively as at 2020 to US dollars 426.3 million. And ladies and gentlemen, you have seen in this space, Ghana has beaten us, Ethiopia has beaten us, but we need to create an environment that would attract foreign direct investment. This is the only way that will create employment opportunities for our youth and women in this country. Now, between Kenya and China trade relations, I want to really bring to your attention that Kenyan exports to China in 2021 alone amounted to US dollars 199.62. If you check what China exported to our country, which amounts to 4.03 billion in 2021, it will tell you that there is a lot of disparity when it comes to balance of trade. And all Kenyans who are seated here today, we must really come up with strategies that would really be able to mainstream that gap. So that, my brother, I want to see these trade relations grow in 2020. Now, with the advent of now export opportunities for avocado, ladies and gentlemen, I know we are going to really, we may not close the gap, but we are going to improve this balance of trade gap. So for the ones who are exporting avocados to China already, we need to really appreciate you, and we as Chamber will continue to support you. The Kenya products that we normally export to China include fruits, flowers, vegetables, macadamia, cashew nuts, tea, textile, coffee, and livestock. And my brother, we really ask with no conditions that China needs to be ready also to open their markets for the Kenyan products. This is the only way we are going to improve on our bilateral relations. Now, in terms of business opportunities in Kenya, agriculture has opportunities in agribusiness value chain. We call upon the China investors to support us and link up and partner with our relevant value chain players to improve on agricultural value chain, especially on edible and non-edible processing and daily processing products. On information and communication technology, of doing business, especially when it comes to marketing of our products, is something which we can borrow from China, and issues like green energy, solar panel, domestic and industrial production is very key. In 2019, I was in Beijing, and I saw why their products are affordable. I want to use the word cheap, because the Banapes, they have invested on affordable energy. So production cost has relatively gone down, such that even youth, women, all the youth innovators are able to produce competitively their products and find a competitive space in the global market. This is something which we want to borrow from China, and as Chamber of Commerce will continue to do relevant research, targeted research, to provide the right trade dissemination of information to different entrepreneurs to ensure that we get the space. For today, I want to call upon all of you to enjoy, sample the products within this Kenya International Expo, and see what you can do in terms of product development. How do you package your products? Which machineries do you require? Because in terms of agriculture, in terms of construction, in terms of ICT, which machineries do you want? How can you partner with the China companies so that you get them affordably and able to link you even with the relevant financial institutions so that you expand your businesses? Thank you so much for listening to me. I remain very grateful for the team who organized this expo and for really choosing to work with the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Asanteni sana, be blessed, and welcome to Kenya for the guests.
That is Patrick Nyangweso. He is the Acting Chief Executive Officer at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, addressing that particular function. It is the International Industrial Expo 2022 happening at Sarit Center, and he has talked about how Kenya needs to increase its industrial exports and improve bilateral trade, just through a number of trade pacts that need to be made, as well as agriculture having quite a big business opportunity in the international market, and how our businesses should leverage on that. We shall be bringing you the details of that particular function as it goes on during our subsequent bulletins. Now in studio, we want to switch gears and about matters genetically modified foods. Remember, the ban on genetically modified crops was lifted after a 10-year ban. We want to find out just what that means for Kenya in terms of food security, your concerns, if any, in terms of food safety, as well as just ensuring that Kenya is staying abreast with the latest in terms of technology. To have this conversation is Dr. Joel Ochieng. He is the head of agricultural biotechnology at the University of Nairobi, on my immediate left. Welcome. As well as Dr. Eric Magembe. He is a biotechnologist. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Let us just start at the beginning. What led to the ban of GMO in Kenya? I'll start with you, Dr. Ochieng.
Yes, first going back to 2012, we had GMO being imported into the country. And this was authorized by President Kibaki and his cabinet. And then within that time, a single publication by a team of French scientists headed by one Seralini published an article that, to make it clear to Kenyans, said in basic English that they were using rat or mouse experiments, and they noticed, one, that even the control mouse they had used had developed tumors, which now we call cancer. Of course, not all tumors are cancerous, you know that. Second is that they noticed that the tumors that were developing from the feed that was included Roundup herbicide, the glyphosate, the Roundup herbicide. The Roundup is a common herbicide used in Kenya today, even on non-GM maize or non-GM crops. So he said on page 9 of that publication very clearly that his tumors were developing from Roundup, not from the maize itself as GMO.
Okay.
Clear sentence, basic English. But unfortunately, some people decided to misinterpret basic English and say that Seralini said that he was developing from GMO maize. That's one. Second, that the herbicides we're talking about are sold freely in any agrovet in Kenya today, and you can walk in and pick one. Now, the ban came as a result of two issues. One, you are aware that we have people who are emotional at that time because their personal circumstances when we talk about cancer in that cabinet. So the matter was taken to cabinet, and the line ministers were instructed to put a temporary hold on any importation of GMO as we await the results of a task force that was to study the issue. A temporary hold as we wait for the outcome of a task force that the Minister for Health, Honorable Beth Mugo, had formed to determine whether GMOs were safe or not. And I'm talking about a temporary hold on importation, not consumption.
Okay.
It's only importation that was banned at that time. Now, before that ban, His Excellency Honorable Raila Odinga tried very hard in Parliament to convince the public and to convince Parliament that GMOs were safe. On 3rd of August 2011, the Hansards are public documents. You can access them if you want. So now that ban was now evolving away from importation and capturing even our work of research. I remember we were denied permission to conduct trials, what we call national performance trials, as a result of the ban by then Minister for Health, Mailu, because people did not see the context of the ban. It was a precautionary, temporary hold, and in 2019, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta lifted the ban. I know many people are saying it's His Excellency William Ruto, and that's why some people are opposing it, because of political interests and to furtherance of a political fight. President Uhuru Kenyatta lifted the ban in 2019 by allowing open cultivation of BT cotton. Cotton is used 70% as feed and food, and only 30% as lint, the one we use to make clothes. 30% only. The rest are food and feed. That happened in 2019. Then in 2022, barely 2 months ago, in July, if you read a Gazette notice by the Treasury CS that allowed importers to bring in GM maize to be used in animal feed. So these are things that I need to clarify before we even go further.
Okay.
That President William Ruto did not want things that are neither here nor there, things that are shadowy, things that we are not sure whether it is lifted or not. So he made it official by convening a cabinet meeting to declare the ban as lifted, because that's an open, what we call transparent and open governance.
Okay.
So that people, if you're an importer, if you're an applicant, you know your fate. Thank you.
So 10 years on, since 2012, I mean 2012, the ban has been lifted. Now we can import and open cultivation of GMO maize, to be precise. Dr. Magembe, what do you make of this, and how is this going to be beneficial for the country?
I think this is a great opportunity for Kenya to benefit from this technology that has been around with us for many years. It is now 30 years since we had GM crops and other products being utilized for humans. And it's time for Kenya to reap the benefits of this technology. To go back to why it was banned and the research that was done by the French scientist, actually that science was thrown out because they found that the rats that were used for the research were naturally getting the cancer, not necessarily because of being fed by the GM maize. So it is time for us now to go back to what was already in the pipeline, because for the past 10 years we've had so many researchers in Kenya and around the world working to develop products, GM products, and myself, I'm one of them, because we've been working since around that time, 2010, 2012, trying to develop products that are going to benefit the farmers. They are going to see farmers getting more money into their pockets. They are going to see that they are, trying to solve the food security situation, that we're going to get more food in our tables, and eventually we become food secure. And we are not saying that GMO is the only solution to the food security situation. One of the solutions among as many.
Right. So both of you are biotechnologists. I mean, you literally work on this.
Yes.
So in very oversimplified terms for Kenyans, I would like our viewers to understand what exactly are GMO foods. I'll start with you, Dr. Ochen.
Thank you very much. Now, the first thing to clarify is that we have different formulations that we call GMO. The first one that we have in Kenya is on maize. And what happens with GMO, we use that balkanized word to mean anything, which is not the right thing. We, for example, modify maize to be able to protect itself from crop pests. And that's the one we call BT maize. It's a maize variety that has been modified to have inherent or internal ability to fight back when crop pests come to devour on its leaf or corn, the corn borer. Now, that is GMO. And we have used a very basic bacterium that is available in the soil, that is harmless to humans, and that we have often taken with our salads and vegetables without any problem. Normally, in GMO formulations, we can never use an item that does not have a long history of safety. So this bacterium is available in the soil. We often take it. That's the one which has been used in modifying the maize to be able to protect itself from crop pests. And not all pests, a specific pest, the corn borer. So even bees landing on that maize plant is not harmed. It is specific in action, the way malaria queen is specific. You take malaria queen, you don't die, yet it goes to your stomach. It goes for a specific Plasmodium falciparum that causes malaria. It doesn't even kill the bacteria in your tummy. It kills a specific item. That's exactly what we're doing with GM. Now, the other one, which we don't have in Kenya today, is the herbicide-tolerant maize. It has been modified to get herbicide spray so that when weeds compete with your crops, and this is mainly for large-scale farms, like the ones in America, because you cannot weed manually thousands of hectares. So what they do is that you have a Roundup-tolerant maize variety that when you spray, all the weeds die and only your maize remains standing. That's a way of weeding. In Kenyan farms, that may not be necessary at all because we have very small farms, and it's not necessary to have Roundup sprayed on half an acre of a maize farm. So these are the two, and we have also cyanide. We have modified cassava that has lower level. We have modified peanut, or some people call it groundnut, that has no allergy because the 3 proteins that were causing allergy in peanut were knocked out. So we use GM to improve food safety and to improve productivity in agriculture. Now, there are many things that people think are GMO. Any large-looking tomato, any chicken that is broiler, people think all those are GMO. No. GMO is only what has been modified genetically, and no other method. If you're using hormones, that's not GMO.
Okay.
No.
Okay. That is a good place to pick up that conversation.
So, for example, if we're discussing maize in Kenya, for local cultivation, we're discussing BT maize. There is no single where on earth, whether in Kenya or overseas, that any person, sane or normal, has raised any issue with BT. I've only seen cases where people complain about Roundup, and it was a single publication anyway.
Okay.
So we are talking about BT maize in Kenya for local cultivation. For import, it will depend. And to make it clear, even when President Ruto allows for import and local cultivation of GMO, I've heard it because I talk to the public. People think we have deregulated GMO. No. Nobody has deregulated GMO. What has happened is that the ban that was in place has been removed. Now, if you want to import, or if you want to develop, or if you want to locally cultivate, you now go through the process that is regulated by the National Biosafety Authority alongside every other regulators like KFIS, KEBS, NEMA, and the rest.
Okay.
So now, if you want to do it, you're now free to do it under regulation.
Okay.
It's not a deregulation at all.
Yes.
Even the labeling is in place. If you develop, if you locally cultivate, if you import GMO, you must label it, not because it's unsafe, because consumers have a right to choose whether they want to take GMO or not.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, those are very important pointers. Dr. Magembe, I want you to speak to a Kenyan who is maybe skeptical about the safety of GMO. As a biotechnologist and just with the knowledge that you have, how safe is GMO for consumption?
So, like any other technology, in biotechnology, we follow through the production system when we are making these GM products. So one of the requirements is to do food safety analysis of the product that is going to come. For example, potato, you are developing it to be resistant to diseases. You know, disease is a major constraint to production. And when farmers are producing the potato, they have to use a lot of chemicals to control the diseases. So now we are using biotechnology tools to make the potato not to get the disease. So it becomes disease resistance. The resistance, we get it from, let's say, another potato that is not consumed. So once we develop this a biotech potato, it has to go through the stages of making sure that it is safe for human consumption, it is safe to the environment, it is safe to be consumed by anybody who wants to consume it. So we don't work in isolation. We have amongst us food scientists who do tests, composition analysis tests. What they do is that they test the GM product that you produced and compare it with the non-GM product and check all the nutritional and safety components in those two, and in trying to see that they are the same. There's nothing that has been changed, that they are the same. So what we're trying to say is that any GM product is approved for human consumption, for feed, or to be exposed to the environment, it has to be approved by the regulatory agencies. And for this case, we have National Biosafety Authority, we have the NEMA, we have all the other regulatory agencies like KFIS who see through that we have done all the food safety analysis to make sure that what we are giving out there is safe for human consumption. So I would say, as opposed to other technologies, conventional technologies, that don't go through this process of proving the safety, for the GM, we have to prove that they are safe for human consumption, and we do a lot of tests before these are released for human or even for animal consumption. So I would like to emphasize that once they are approved by the regulatory agencies, they are safe for consumption. And also, even the imports, the imports that we get from outside the countries, they are approved by their countries, and before they get here, we have to analyze. We have the agencies that are going to see that what is being imported is also safe for consumption. So it has to be proven that it is safe for consumption before it is approved.
So Kenyans have nothing to worry about?
Kenyans should have nothing to worry about. For example, if you took a plane from Nairobi to Kampala, you are assured by the pilot that you're going to reach Kampala, but you are not a pilot or an engineer. So we are the scientists. The scientists are telling the people that it is safe. We are the scientists. We assure the public that once a product is approved, it is safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There are 23 counties currently facing hunger in Kenya.
Yes.
3 million people at risk of starvation.
Yes.
How exactly is this initiative going to alleviate hunger and improve food security in the future? Dr. Ochieng.
Yes. First of all, the BT maize I talked about, which is locally made,
yes,
through a public-private partnership. The government is part of it. It's a public-private partnership. It's not just people in isolation doing it.
Mm.
That's what I wanted people to understand first. The BT maize was developed through a public-private partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Now, second is that particular trait, the BT trait, has been incorporated in a maize variety called drought tego that was already cultivated by farmers and is more resistant to drought. It has better water use efficiency, and so it is resistant to drought. You can normally put this gene into any maize variety,
mm-hmm,
but the first batch was put in a maize variety that was drought tolerant already through conventional breeding. So apart from the conventional breeding that produced a drought tolerant variety, we have inserted this BT gene in it so that it has multiple traits. It will be drought tolerant, at the same time, it will deal with the pest menace. So if we look at the situation today, we have people suffering from hunger due to 4 reasons. We cannot say it's because there is no GMO. The first reason is that productivity in Kenyan farms has gone down. The soils are old, and we have not put programs in place that resuscitate the soil.
mm-hmm,
And that's one reason I think, I don't speak for the government, I think the president has initiated fertilizer system where farmers can get fertilizer at subsidized costs to try to resuscitate the soil.
mm-hmm.
Of course, if you listen to the deputy president, he said manure, farmers will be taught also how to make their own compost manure, which is a very good initiative. Second issue is that there is drought everywhere, and farmers who rely on rain-fed agriculture usually cultivate and harvest almost nothing. In addition to that, if you are aware, pests normally account for at least 60% of farm losses. So if we adopt a pest-resistant variety, for example, of maize, you know, food is not just about maize, but if you adopt that drought-tolerant variety, at the same time pest-resistant, then we are likely to harvest more. We are facing a situation where we are bringing in all concerted efforts in assuring food security, not one issue only.
Mm.
Fertilizer use and compost manure from the farmers' own making. We have GM maize cultivated. Then we have distribution mechanisms. We don't want to hear one side of the country saying we have excess, we want to throw away, and the other side saying we have no food to eat, we're dying.
Yet that is the situation right
yes,
now.
It is, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also we have to take some things carefully. So if we have a proper distribution mechanism
mm-hmm,
that ensures that food that is available, raglat, you remember some years back when milk was poured on the roads in
yes.
Nakuru.
Mm-hmm.
That was a distribution issue and storage, shelf life storage issue. If that milk was stored using biotechnology methods that can last longer than 3 years, that shouldn't have happened.
Okay.
But of course, as you know, it was a protest about prices. That's why I'm saying sometimes we have to be careful how we take issues. So all these things put in place, including favorable agricultural policies, I think we may be getting out of this problem. in the long term. But we should not expect that change in 2 months. Because, for example, GMO was now declared allowed in the country just a few weeks ago. That means we have to prepare to locally cultivate, we have to wait and harvest, so you cannot expect the change to be in 2 months.
Definitely.
It will have to take some time. People have to deploy, people have to harvest, and before that, KFIS has to give this BT maize a variety name. So there's a process, but we hope a very short one. And we hope that the government regulatory agencies will hasten the process so that farmers can deploy in good time. And so just a matter of asking people to give us more time, to give the government more time, because the government is part of the program, to deploy, wait for people to harvest, wait for importers to bring in more maize. And I have heard about some comments about importation, that we are not protecting local farmers. We must remember, we have thousands of farmers, but we have millions of consumers. So it's a 50-50 situation.
The demand is high.
The farmers need to be protected, but the consumers, who are the majority, and who include those farmers, have to be protected too.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we want lower prices for farm produce, and that's why they're being given fertilizers, so that the inputs can also be lower.
Okay.
So even if the farmer will throw away his maize at 2,000, he will have spent less as well, because the farm input will have been lower prices. Yeah.
Right. Dr. Magembe, I would like you to speak to the issue of the indigenous foods, so to say. There is concern that with the proliferation of GMO, we will lose our indigenous seeds, and all we'll have is the GMO. What will, or rather, how do you foresee this happening? And is it even true that we will lose the indigenous seeds?
Thank you, Betty, for that question. The way I look at it is this way. Let's say 30 years back, the seed that was being grown 30 years back is not the seed that is being grown right now. There have been a lot of efforts trying to improve the seed quality. When you talk to farmers anywhere you go, they are saying, give us quality seed. And the quality seed is developed through these technologies by breeding, which is happening all the time. We need new breeds, new varieties, and also by biotechnology. So the seeds are continuously being improved. Even the GM seed that is maybe going to be liked by farmers and is going to be popular will be eventually improved. So it's not like we're going to lose our indigenous seed per se.
Okay.
What we are doing is that we are improving already the seed that we have, the varieties that we have. For example, what we are doing in potato is that we went to the farmers, being our key stakeholders who grow this potato, and found out from them what is the real issue that you have with the potato. And they told us the issue that we have with the potato is diseases are, making us not get high yields as we expect. Then we are improving the seed they already have. The variety they are already growing is the one that we are improving. We are just making it better. So we are not going to lose our indigenous seed. And coming to that, the Kenyan government has a gene bank at the KALRO, Kenya Livestock and Agricultural Research Organization, where they keep all the seed that we have. So we can always go back if we want to get seeds that were used long time ago or currently being used. So there shouldn't be any worry of in losing our indigenous seed, because we've imported crops anyway. All the maize that we are using right now was not like indigenous crop for Africa. It came somewhere into Africa. So there are mechanisms by the government trying to conserve the seeds that we have right now. And as biotechnologists, as breeders and other scientists, what we are trying to do is to improve this seed, to make it better so that we can benefit to improve the food security.
Maybe I can just add on that a little. The first thing, I think the issue that you're raising is coming from stories about gene flow. That if you plant GM maize next to mine, it will flood mine and then we'll lose indigenous or land races.
Okay.
The issue is and this is what is being propagated. If you plant GM maize next to an indigenous maize crop, and there is gene flow, there can be. But first, before I say there can be, people need to understand that there are regulations about how to plant GM crops. There is normally a buffer zone, and they are normally planted in exclusive areas. You will not be allowed to just plant it anywhere you want. There are regulations about where to plant them and about the distance of the buffer zone.
Okay.
But assuming that happens, unfortunately, that there is a gene flow, you will get the foreign gene. But you will get the foreign gene in a single crop. You will not get it in the next generation. The reason is there is something we call gene decay.
Okay.
The gene will decay in 2 generations, it's gone completely. So there's no way you're going to lose the indigenous seeds. And that's why even for hybrid seeds that are not GM, if you replant your own seed from your crop, then the hybrid vigor disappears. That's why you can't harvest more. You buy seeds from Agrovet today, deploy them in your farm, hybrid seeds. If you choose to replant your own, the hybrid vigor is halved. So you harvest much lower. And within no time, you're just back to where you came from. So the gene decay ensures that even accidental gene flow will not affect their land races.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that you mentioned that there is a way to plant GMO. It's not
there's
like
a regulation.
Everyone can just take it to their farms.
It's all regulated. There's a whole mechanism on how you're supposed to grow the GM crops.
And the distances are given.
And for crops like maize, I think it's some distance like 100 meters away from any other non-GM.
Okay.
But again, on this, I will say that let's give the farmers the choice. If they want to grow the indigenous, they are free to grow the indigenous varieties or the varieties they've been growing. And those farmers who want to benefit from this new seed from GM that is high yielding, disease resistant, drought tolerant, let them also have a choice that they can also grow that crop.
Okay.
As long as it is approved, as long as it's proven to be safe, they should have a choice to grow it. So it's like when you go to buy maize seed, you'll go to the seed company and you'll find so many seed there. You have the choice to take from this company or this other company or this other company. And like Professor Cheng said, I mean, if some of the seed, if you grow the seed that you harvest, it's going to be of a weaker variety than the one that you bought from the seed company. So we should not encourage farmers to be growing their own seed because it's of poor quality, it has diseases, it has so many other things that we don't know. It's better when farmers buy seeds from certified seed companies.
It means that there is a lot of work to be done really before this is deployed to the farmers. And seeing that most of Kenyan farmers are smallholder farmers, how exactly are you going to deal with this? Watching.
Yes, most Kenyan farmers are smallholders.
Yes.
And as we said, that 100-meter distance he's talking about is bearing in mind the pollinator distance. The possible distance pollinators would fly, the bees, how far will they go from one farm to the next? Now, the question you're asking me is about neighbors, for example, where neighbors is simply a euphobia, that is a fence in between 2 neighbors. As we said earlier, there is a regulation on who can plant GM maize. It's not anybody, because they will assess where you want to plant it.
Okay.
It's not a free-for-all thing. They will assess your farm. They will assess whether you'll be a nuisance to your neighbor in terms of gene flow. They will assess the pollinator distance, and they will assess whether you have a buffer zone. So you have BT maize, for example, here, and just before your neighbor's farm, you have normal maize. So that pollinators will land on yours, not the other one. It's a regulated affair. It's not just a free-for-all that people are fearing, oh, now when people are allowed, I will suffer. No.
Okay.
This is a very stringently regulated affair. It's not just like another farming.
Right.
Yes.
Do you have something to add to that?
Yes. The biosafety, National Biosafety Authority has very clear guidelines on the cultivation of these GM products. And as developers, as scientists, there's also what we call good stewardship practices when you are handling these GM products. So from the production of the product until the mass distribution. So throughout the system, we have to follow good stewardship practices. And one of them is following the regulations that have been set out in the biosafety law. So the regulations are that GM products should be traceable. So as we develop the GM varieties, we have specific ways of testing them, such that if you have a neighbor who's you're thinking they are growing GM, it's very easy for the National Biosafety Authority or other regulatory agencies like KBC to quickly come and test and see that this is GM or not. Okay. So these are highly regulated products, and which is very good because it's not like the other conventionally grown crops. These are very well regulated, and there's also the labeling law. So the product that is going to come out of it, it's going to be labeled in the supermarkets. The consumers are going to have a choice. Consumers are going to have a choice. When they get to the supermarket, they'll see a clear label saying that this product may or contains GM in it. So it's going to be a choice for people to decide whether they want it or not, from the farmer to the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So for these consumers, I'm curious, at the time when we have these products now in the supermarkets or the retail stores, do you foresee it impacting the cost of organic foods? To be precise, will it push up the cost of organic foods? Dr. Cheng?
Well, if I look at people now consuming, for example, unga, that is GM, alongside the organic ones. And by the way, as a scientist, I can tell you there's nothing organic. But that's a discussion for another day. There's nothing like organic in the first place. Because as a trainer and a scientist, I would be doing myself injustice to just answer your question without correcting that. We need to understand the real meaning of the word organic.
What is organic food?
Biochemical meaning of that word.
Are you saying there's no organic food in Kenya as we speak?
Everything is organic, that's what I mean.
But you just said there's no organic, there's nothing organic.
I mean, there's nothing that we can segregate and say this is organic.
Label it like organic, like this is purely organic.
Yeah, there's something like that.
Yeah.
So what I mean is this. It is basic biochemistry. Classes all these things, including GM as organic. But organic is a marketing gimmick that people use to tell you that we did not spray our farm, for example. We grew them naturally, we did not spray, and we did not use fertilizer. I think that's what the applied meaning of organic. But the biochemical meaning of organic is different. That's what I wanted to correct.
Okay.
So if we answer it by the applied meaning, yes. If you bring GM, which requires less input, and for example, we don't spray BT maize. There is no need to spray because we have inherently included the ability to fight pests within that maize plant. So there's no spraying. The other maize you spray because otherwise it gets destroyed. So even ours is the more organic anyway. That's where I was coming to. Because in our case, we are making it unnecessary to spray. Spraying has two issues. One, it destroys the environment. And two, it kills innocent pests who are not interested in your maize. They were just moving around doing their own things. Biodiversity issues. So ours will attack only the maize that comes to devour on the corn. Any other pest is safe. We don't kill innocent people. So anyway, if you bring BT maize, because the cost of production is lower, no spraying and all this kind of thing, if the cost of production is lower, it means the price of that product is lower as well. And we have seen this across the world. Countries that predominantly grow BT maize, or not BT, but just GM maize overall, are about half the price. About half. And that's why people are running to import. You can only import what is much cheaper because you're coming to sell. It's business.
Okay.
So that tells you that GM technology lowers the cost of production and therefore guarantees a lower pricing for the final product. So that means the price of GM unga will be much lower. The one who says it's organic will be selling at 300 while we are selling at 100 or 60 bob. Obviously, a Kenyan who knows GM is safe will come for our maize.
Okay.
With our unga.
And that precisely comes to the point I was saying, that let's give the consumers the choice. Because eventually, like Ocheng is saying, the GM maize is going to turn out to be cheaper because of the production cost. It's going to be really low to produce it. And then the price on the shelf will be very low compared to the, for example, organic, the one they call organic, which is not really organic.
Okay.
And then the consumer will have a choice because they have been told by their government that this is safe. So if it's safe, I can consume it. And actually, some time back when we had drought, the government allowed importation of the GM, but it was milled on arrival, and it was consumed. And we've never seen any issues. There's never been any issues that has been reported around GM. And for your information, since the 30 years that GMO have been consumed, there is no single case that has been documented that it is unsafe.
Well, let's hope that Kenyans are listening.
I think there's one thing I needed to ask also.
Okay.
I am a Kenyan.
Yes.
I live here. I've not expressed any intention of going to live in another country.
Okay.
This maize we're talking about, BT maize, for example, if it's allowed here, I'll have to consume it. Because I don't think I look frustrated enough to want to die. So for me to vote for something and say it is safe, and that is something I'll be consuming myself and my children and my parents, clearly I must believe in my heart it is safe. Unless I look frustrated, I want to die.
No, definitely. And, for most Kenyans, yes, just go ahead, Dr. Magembe.
And there has been this misinformation that these technologies being led by multinationals, they are coming to destroy the local companies. And he testifying, and I'm also doing that we have GM products that are being locally, developed here in Kenya and Africa, many of them. And some of them, like the BT maize, the virus-resistant cassava, the disease-resistant potato, they have been produced in the country by majority of scientists who are Kenyans. So there's no way that Kenyans will produce something for other Kenyans that is going to destroy them.
Okay.
So we have the capacity, we have everything that it takes to produce these products here in Kenya, and give them out to our farmers, to our consumers, so that we improve the food security situation in our country.
Improving the food security situation. Gentlemen, we are almost done with our program. I'll give each of you 1.5 minutes to just give us your closing remarks, and mostly just talk to a Kenyan who is listening. Dr. Ocheng, I'll start with you.
The Kenyan who is listening, one, GM is a safe product that has been tested from laboratory stage all the way to commercialization, to the supermarket shelf and the shop shelf. It is safe if developed through regulations. And there's no GM that is developed without regulations.
Okay.
The second issue is that I would plead with Kenyans, and particularly people with political feelings, to separate food security issues from political affiliations. We are going to serve ourselves better justice if food security is separated from politics, so that we do not oppose something because we don't like the one who has introduced it, or the one we think has brought it to the country.
Okay.
So if you don't like the current government, please, if, for example, people from my own backyard in Nyanza, we are talking about food security. When you go hungry as a person. So at a personal level, think about it. We are bringing products, I'm a doer myself, and there's no way I can take the wrong thing to my people, where I live, where my parents live. I believe it is safe.
Okay.
Regardless of which president has declared it open.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Magembe?
Yes, Betty. I live in one of the counties that is facing drought. And just last week, I come from Kajiado County. I live in Kajiado County. Last week, one of the big farm holders who has a lot of cattle lost 12 cattle in a day, and the following day 6. So the situation is very bad. And biotechnology and GM is one of the solutions. Is one of the solutions amongst many other solutions to this situation. We have other avenues trying to solve the food security in our country, and GM is just one of them. It's not the silver bullet. So I would like to emphasize that we have the capacity in our country to produce these products, number one. We have the capacity to regulate what is being brought from outside and tell the public that it is safe for us. And number three, we should use all means possible, including GM, trying to solve the food security situation in our country. Okay. So if, for example, we had drought-tolerant maize that was being grown in Kajiado where I live, we shouldn't have been having this problem. We should have had enough food or feed for our animals.
Okay.
So let's embrace the technology. It's a technology like any other technology. It has its own regulatory mechanism that is already in place, and let's embrace it and see that we see more food in our tables, and also farmers benefit from this technology.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for sharing with us your thoughts and expertise.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have been speaking with Dr. Joy Locheng, the head of agricultural biotech at University of Nairobi, as well as Dr. Eric Magembe, a biotechnologist. We have been talking about the genetically modified foods, what they are, how safe they are for you, and why the government is just lifting the ban now. This has been BizCheck. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Betty Kiptum. Kurunzi Mashinani is coming up with Khalid Abdullahi. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Bye-bye.
I already stopped fighting and I decided to give up. They say that you've changed, but honestly, I find that hard to believe.
Valentina? Fed, are you all right? I'm glad you're all right. Valentina!
I think there's something between the two of you. I don't know, something more than mere friendship. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Mom. I'm telling you, Alexis and I are just friends.
And you still need to tell me why you weren't able to get out any money from the emergency account of the hotel.
Because somebody emptied it.
What?
Julieta, I beg you. I'm dehydrated. I'm so thirsty.
What's that? I thought you'd never beg for anything.
I beg you. Please let me go.
They not only emptied the hotel account to transfer money to yours, it only took them 2 hours to take the money from your account. And they transferred it to what seems to be somebody else's bank account.
No, this can't be happening because this is fraud.
Kanye was still a billionaire after he separated with Kim Kardashian. But when he separated with Adidas,
now
is when
he
became
he lost
a billionaire.
No. What do you mean?
So the thing is, there is more money in shoes than there is in women.
No. We are not going to be looking at things like that.
It is.
I think you should say the ex-billionaire. The titles never shed. Even when you decay, you say the late, you know? So the billionaire is the ex-billionaire. I think that would be fair enough for Kanye West, right? Exactly. Before I think of FIFA giving us more slots so that Kenya can be included, we should go the Malkia way. No, the ladies did the basketing and men, look at that. They went and hammered everyone.
Tumesupporta watu miaka ngapi? Tumesupporta Harambee Stars miaka ngapi?
No, I know.
60% of Kenya is currently facing severe drought, the reality of climate change.
Kiangazi imekuwa mingi, tulipanda chakula ikapotea, tumesukumwa sana. Njaa imezidi, tumeanza kwenda kuomba chakula.
Watu wako na njaa kila area, hata watoto wanashindwa na kwenda shule sababu ya njaa.
What is the impact of this calamity on the population, livestock, wildlife, and your security? This Wednesday and Thursday on KBC Channel 1, we bring you themed bulletins around the dire drought situation. The bane of drought. This Wednesday and Thursday, 9 p.m.
Alhamdulillah, mpenzi mtazamaji popote ulipo, natumai Alhamisi yako inakuendea vyema adhuhuri ya siku ya pili mwezi Novemba mwaka 2022, wakati mwingine mwafaka wa kukuletea wewe mtazamaji taarifa za kurunzi mashinani. Natumai uko mzima na uko salama. Karibu. Mimi ni Khalid Abdullahi, anayenisaidia kwa lugha ishara ni Byron Aburi. Naomba waandamane nami hadi tamati. Mtazamaji, kuzinduliwa kwa mfumo wa ugatuzi humu nchini kulibadilisha mfumo wa uongozi wa taifa hili. Huduma kwa umma zilipelekwa nyanjani, huku kukiwa na nadharia ya kutafuta suluhisho za kijamii kwa changamoto zinazokumba jamii mahususi. Miongoni mwa masuala sugu katika maeneo kame ni ukame uliokithiri. Ni zaidi ya miaka 10 tangu uzinduzi wa katiba hiyo, lakini hakuna ishara kwamba kaunti husika zimeibuni mikakati ya kudumu ya kukabiliana na athari za ukame na baa la njaa, huku chakula cha msaada kikionekana kutumiwa kama ushawishi wa kisiasa.
Takriban Wakenya milioni 4.3 katika kaunti 29 humu nchini wanakabiliwa na uhaba wa chakula, huku wakiendelea kukumbwa na kile kinachotajwa kuwa hali mbaya zaidi ya ukame kuwahi kushuhudiwa katika kipindi cha miaka 40.
Hakuna mvua, hakuna chakula. And it is very painful. Every day I wake up in my house there, every weekend natembelewa na watu karibu 1,000.
Wengine wanaenda wanafanya vibarua, wanapata tu pesa ya kukula peke yake. Wengine wanapata pesa tu wananunulia watoto chakula, wengine wanaenda wananunua hata needs inakufa na njaa, mifugo inakufa na njaa.
Taswira ya kusikitisha kutoka miaka ya hapo awali inazidi kushuhudiwa, huku maelfu ya mifugo wakiendelea kukabiliwa na baa la njaa kutokana na ukosefu wa maji na chakula, na wengine kufa na kusababisha hasara kubwa kwa wafugaji. Takwimu za hivi punde kutoka kwa Wizara ya Ufugaji zinaonyesha kuwa takriban mifugo milioni 2.5 wamekufa katika kipindi cha misimu 4 iliyopita kutokana na hali ya ukame inayoendelea. Hali hiyo inaibua swali la ni kwa nini kilio hicho kinashuhudiwa kila mwaka?
If you don't do anything, if you don't do it in parliament, if you don't do in the policies in the government, then is it no politicization? Because you are supposed to plan for what do you do, because like drought has been recurring now.
Mnamo mwaka 2010 taifa hili liliratibu katiba mpya ambayo ilisisitiza ugatuzi ili kutimiza matakwa ya Wakenya ya huduma kupelekwa karibu na wananchi na kubuni suluhu za kutatua matatizo ya Wakenya katika magatuzi. Hata hivyo, uwezo wa serikali 47 za kaunti wa kushughulikia suala la upatikanaji wa chakula sasa unahitajika zaidi.
Water is involved. It is the work of the county government to provide water to the residents of that particular county. But they're telling us, they have no money. They haven't been paid. They haven't been paid their salaries. So, this is a vicious circle. One blaming the other, and in between, the people will suffer.
Licha changamoto ya kucheleweshwa kwa mgao wa fedha inayokumba serikali za kaunti, jicho la kina linadhibitisha kwamba mifumo dhaifu ya utawala na kupotokwa katika masuala ya kupewa vipaumbele pia vimelemaza uwezo wa serikali za kaunti katika kukabiliana na hali ya ukame inayoshuhudiwa.
The money dispersed to the county government for the last now almost 12 years or 10 years or 11 years is just too big when it comes to northern Kenya. we are talking of around over 200 or 300 billion Kenya shillings. But there's nothing to show for that money. We don't know where it has gone, those money. What we know is that one of the strategies they use is employ large number of youth in their counties.
Na mtazamaji, wakazi wa kaunti ya Makueni wanataka serikali ya kaunti hiyo na ile ya kitaifa kutafuta suluhu ya kudumu kwa tatizo la uhaba mkubwa wa maji katika eneo hilo. Wakazi wamesema wakipata maji wanaweza kuzalisha chakula cha kutosha kwa kaunti hiyo na taifa kwa jumla. Ukame unaoendelea kushuhudiwa umeathiri sekta ya elimu, huku watoto sasa wakiacha shule kwa sababu ya njaa.
Sehemu ya Matiliku, kaunti ya Makueni, mamia ya wakazi wanang'ang'ania chakula cha msaada kutoka serikali ya kitaifa. Eneo hili halijapokea mvua ya kutosha katika muda wa miaka miwili iliyopita. Hali hii imesababisha njaa, umaskini na msongo wa mawazo ambazo zinaathiri wakazi. Siku mpya, changamoto mpya. Maisha yanaendelea kuwa magumu kwa wakazi ambao wameathiriwa na ukame. Eneo hili ni mojawapo ya maeneo kame hapa nchini na ukumbwa na ukame mara kwa mara. Hapa ni Mwasang'ombe, eneo bunge la Kibwezi Magharibi. Familia nyingi zinahitaji chakula cha dharura. Kutana na Kamwethia, mama wa watoto watatu ambaye hana mume. Yeye na watoto wake hawajatia kitu mdomoni kwa muda wa siku 2 zilizopita.
Saa nikikosa kutafuta chakula watoto hawezi kukula. Ndio mimi mama, mimi baba. Sasa hii nilikuwa naenda kutafuta, kapata barua ya finja. Sasa kipata hiki barua ya finja, naenda nanunua unga ya nusu kuja wanapikia uji nalala. Tunakaa, ndio maisha yetu. Mimi nakaa hapa na watoto wangu, pia ngo wangu anakaanga pale. Tunakaa hapa. Hii nyumba tusimamisha ndio naona inaanguka. Sio, tunakaa hapa. Ya mateso iko huko. Sasa naamka saa 10, naacha watoto wamelala. Naenda kuwatafutia. Na rudi saa 7 na pata wamelala. Pata hajaenda shule. Nimewapata hapa na sijaona kitu.
Yeye hutegemea kazi za vibarua ili kujipatia pesa za kukimu familia yake.
3. Tupika uji. Sinawaambia nimeenda nikakosa pesa, nikakosa nini. Nawaambia tupike uji na tulale. Tupika na tunalala. Kiwa na wao. Pendo usaidizi wa mtoto wangu asome na chakula.
I've been a champion of what we call the disaster management framework, both policy and law. And I spent the whole of the entire 5 years in the Senate trying to get the disaster management law into an act, which did not succeed. What does that do? That law was going to provide what is called a joint framework of national and county government for purposes of preparing for disasters and emergencies. Since disaster and emergency is a concurrent function of national and county government, it was important that we coordinate because the point where we need to seek for national government assistance, once a drought is declared, it is very easy for the resources to be available for county governments instead of county governments having to wait for national government.
Hapa ni eneo la Nzauwi. Maji yameadimika kama wali wadaku. Wakazi usafiri miendo mirefu kuyatafuta.
Hivyo nakujanga unakuta watu wako wengi sana, kuna mafunda kama 10 na kitu. So inabidingi kama wewe ni unataka maji haraka kuja mapema. Upate maji. Kama utachelewa maybe kama weekends utakuja kula watu ni wengi. Kama leo nimekuja kwa peke yangu, si vile ati hakunanga shida ya maji. Ni vile tu kumenyesha na kumeamkia kayo kama mvua asubuhi. Maji shida sana, hatuna maji, kuna moja ndio.
Hii maji saa nyingine inakuanga kidogo, saa nyingine tuseme saa hii kusinaona vile mvua iko karibu inapanda juu kiasi, lakini ukigeuka maji yanateremka chini kabisa. Ungekuwa na mapunda mengi hapa kabisa. Bali watu hapa wanangojana mpaka kitu kama saa 7 hivi wakichata maji. Mtu anaingia asubuhi saa 1 anatoka hapa saa 8. Sababu lazima wangojeane, kila mtu afikiwe na ile taketi yake.
Serikali ya kaunti hii imesema visima 12 vya maji vimekauka na kuzidisha hali hiyo.
We're going to start thinking of climate smart agriculture. In climate smart agriculture, we'll have to figure out more of drip irrigation and doing the farm ponds that I'm talking about, so that large-scale farmers in Zio area, the people who are doing their fruits, the people who are doing the mangoes, etc., can agree to consolidate their farms, do water pans or water ponds in the middle of their farms, and continue irrigating.
Maji, asilimia 80 ya wanafunzi wa maeneo kame wameathiriwa pakubwa na hali ya ukame inayoshuhudiwa humu nchini, huku wanafunzi wengi wakiachwa masomo kutokana na njaa. Hali hiyo inasikitisha, huku madarasa katika eneo kame na kaskazini yakisalia mahame, nayo makali ya njaa yakizidi kukithiri katika eneo hilo ambalo halijapokea mvua kwa miaka kadhaa. Wanafunzi wengi wameungana na wazazi wao kutafuta maji, na wadau katika sekta ya elimu wana wasiwasi kwamba huenda wengi wao wakakosa kufanya mtihani ya kitaifa inayotarajiwa kuanza mwishoni mwa mwezi.
Ni baadhi tu ya picha kutoka maeneo ambayo yanazidi kuathirika na ukame humu nchini. Japo hakuna takwimu rasmi za idadi ya wanafunzi walioathirika na ukame, wengi hususan kutoka jamii za wafugaji wa kuhama wametelekeza masomo, huku wazazi wao wakiwa katika harakati za kutafuta maji na chakula.
If we do not do those immediate interventions, my fear is that we'll have a lot of our children missing in school, and for that matter missing the exams. So
hali ambayo sasa wadau katika elimu wanasema inahitaji kushughulikiwa kwa dharura.
The school calendar should run the same in every other school, but Drought cannot allow this to happen.
Katibu mkuu wa chama cha kitaifa cha walimu hapa nchini, Nat Collins Oyu, anasema mbinu ya kuhusisha serikali na mashirika mbalimbali inahitajika ili kuhakikisha shughuli za masomo haziathiriki.
Almost 80% in the drought-stricken areas will be affected, because as we speak now, they are not even in the same places they were several months ago. They have been displaced, either looking for water or even shelter and even food.
Haya inajiri huku waziri wa elimu Ezekiel Mochogu akitoa hakikisho la kujitolea kwa serikali kuimarisha mpango wa utoaji lishe shuleni ili kuhakikisha hakuna mwanafunzi anayekosa kwenda shuleni kwa sababu ya njaa.
Government is going to be very regular in the supply of food and cash transfer. We are also working on it.
Mochogu ambaye alikuwa akizindua rasmi chakula kinachopelekwa katika kaunti 10 zilizoathirika na ukame, amesema chakula hicho kitaweza kudumu kwa muda wa mwezi mmoja.
We are dispatching 4,313 metric tons of rice. We are also dispatching 1,150 metric tons of beans.
Na mtazamaji, kisalia tu na taarifa ya kufungamana na janga hili la ukame ni kuwa ukame uliosababishwa na kiwango duni cha mvua katika kipindi cha miaka 4 iliyopita umewalazimu wachungaji katika kaunti ya Garissa kuingia katika kaunti zingine kutafuta malisho. Mwezi uliopita watu kadhaa wameuawa katika kaunti ya Kitui kufuatia mgogoro uliosababishwa na uhamiaji huo. Viongozi kutoka kaunti ya husika wanatoa wito kwa serikali kutafuta suluhu kwa migogoro inayoendelea.
Kipindi kirefu cha ukame nchini hakijasababisha uhaba wa chakula tu, bali pia ukosefu wa malisho na maji baada ya nyasi na mito kukauka. Jamii mbalimbali sasa zinazozana kuhusu rasilimali hizo zilizoadimika. Baadhi ya wafugaji kutoka kaunti za Garissa, Wajir na Tana River wamevamia mashamba katika kaunti jirani kuwatafutia lishe ngamia wao. Ni hatua ambayo imesababisha ghasia baina ya wakulima na wafugaji, ambapo vifo na majeraha vimeshuhudiwa.
The life of pastoralists, for example, those people who keep livestock, is hinged on mobility. And these people will always move based on where there is grass and where there is water. Even international borders will not stop these people from crossing, especially during this time of hardship. They will move even to far away parts in Ethiopia, to far away parts in Somalia, in order to get pasture and water for their livestock. And in this movement, some people who are the hosts where they're moving to are definitely not happy.
Wakulima wanawalaumu wafugaji kwa kuvamia mashamba yao na kuyafanya kuwa malisho ya mifugo, hatua ambayo imesababisha kudorora kwa usalama. Mbunge wa Mandera Kusini Abdul Haro ametoa wito kwa viongozi kutoka jamii ya wafugaji pamoja na jamii ya wakulima kutatua suala hilo kwa pamoja badala ya kuchochea jamii husika. Mbunge huyo alisema kuwa ukame ni tukio la kawaida na wafugaji hawafai kulaumiwa, kwani wanajaribu kuokoa mifugo wao. Naye mbunge wa Fafi amesema viongozi kutoka Kitui na Garissa wanafaa kuunga mkono juhudi za kusuluhisha migogoro baina ya jamii hizo mbili.
There must be strategic reserve of feed, animal feeds also, not only strategic reserve of maize and human feed. So if there was hay stored maybe in our silos, if there was the normal nutrients of animal feeds in our stores, and given at a subsidy price to the livestock herders or at free way we distribution, this situation could have been today abated.
Aidha, mbunge huyo alisema kwamba mgogoro wa kung'ang'ania lishe ya mifugo unaweza kupungua iwapo viongozi watahimiza jamii husika kuwa na utulivu. Katika kaunti ya Kilifi, maelfu ya wafugaji na mifugo wao wamevamia baadhi ya sehemu za kaunti ndogo ya Magarini wakitafuta maji na chakula, hatua ambayo imesababisha migogoro baina ya wafugaji na wakulima.
Na ukosefu wa hamasa miongoni mwa wafugaji umeathiri ukumbatiaji wa bima ya mifugo iliyozinduliwa miaka 7 iliyopita, huku kiangazi kikishuhudiwa humu nchini mara kwa mara. Wafugaji wamehimizwa kuwachukulia mifugo wao bima hiyo ili kuepukana na hasara inayojiri.
Je, wajua kwamba unaweza kuwawekea bima mbuzi, ng'ombe, kondoo au ngamia wako kwa gharama nafuu ya shilingi 264 kwa mwaka? Wakati ukame unapokumba taifa hili, mifugo sawa na wanadamu huathirika kutokana na uhaba wa maji na lishe. Hii inawaacha wafugaji bila mbinu nyingine ya kujikinga kutokana na hasara ila kuwauza mifugo au kwa bei hafifu ya hata shilingi 500.
Ng'ombe hii kuleta inakuwa unaleta tu kama ngozi umeleta kichinjio, ajili hiyo ngozi mwenyewe haina faida. Inauza shilingi 20 kwa kilo.
Hii ng'ombe ikiletwa ni kama inatupwa tu, manake huko ikiwasea huko kwa ng'ombe zingine inaletea mashida. Kwa hivyo watu wanaleta tu hapa kwa silota ndia atupe tu, ni kama ngozi tu unatupa, kwa sababu bei yake inakuta ng'ombe imeweka 1,000, 1,500.
Hata ingawa kampuni mbalimbali za bima zilizindua aina mbalimbali ya bima za mifugo miaka 7 iliyopita, ukosefu wa hamasa na itikadi za kijamii zimeathiri ari ya wafugaji ya kuchukua bima hizo.
Creating awareness, demystifying this product, what does it do? You know, when you look at the country as a whole, in terms of penetration, whatever product it is, you will find across the sector, penetration in Kenya tends to be quite low for a number of reasons. So then when you look at a community that is in an area or that may be considered to be fairly remote, you may find that the penetration is even lower. So you first have to deal with that.
Kampuni ya bima ya Takaful, ambayo ni mojawapo ya zile zinazotoa huduma ya bima kwa mifugo, inasema kuwawekea mifugo bima ndiyo njia mwafaka ya kukabiliana na athari za ukame katika maeneo kame.
There is an opportunity to be more proactive, which is our call out really, both to the central government but also to the county governments, to be more proactive by supporting them way before, because these covers are bought, are participated in before there is a drought. That is how to be proactive. But if you're waiting until the drought has happened, then that becomes cash transfer. It becomes very expensive. It becomes, maybe you have so many other pressing demands at the same time. The question now is not if there will be a drought, It has almost come to a situation where the conversation now is how bad will it be.
Kwa sasa, sekta ya ufugaji huchangia 13% uchumi wa taifa, huku wengi wa wafugaji wakiishi katika maeneo kame.
Na mtazamaji, kama ilivyo ada, kila siku huwa tunakuletea makala ya Ifahamu China. Mtazamaji, tazama hii leo tumekuandalia nini kwenye makala yetu ya Ifahamu China.
Mambo na karibu katika kipindi cha Ifahamu China. Mimi ni Zakia Peng. China imelenga kuongeza kasi ya maendeleo ya utengenezaji wa bidhaa zinazotokana na taka za kibiolojia na pia uzalishaji na matumizi ya taka zinazovunjika za plastiki. Jambo linaloifanya kuwa mchangiaji muhimu katika ulinzi wa ekolojia duniani. Mradi wa majaribio wa kemikali ya makaa ya mawe wenye uwezo wa kuzalisha tani 50,000 kwa mwaka ulianza kufanya kazi mjini Yulin, mji wenye hazina kubwa ya makaa ya mawe ulioko mkoani Shanxi, kaskazini magharibi mwa China. Timu za watafiti wa China ziko tayari kutoa mchango zaidi kuendeleza uzalishaji wa taka za kibiolojia kwa vigezo vya kimataifa. Uwezo wa uzalishaji wa taka zinazooza duniani ni karibu tani milioni 1.5 kwa mwaka hivi karibuni, ambapo uwezo wa uzalishaji wa China kwa sasa umefikia karibu tani 800,000 na kuchukua zaidi ya nusu ya uwezo wa jumla. Inakadiriwa kuwa mpaka kufikia mwaka 2025, mahitaji mapya ya vifaa vya taka zinazooza itazidi tani milioni 4. China ina utajiri mkubwa wa rasilimali ya makaa, ikiwa na uwezo wa kuzalisha karibu tani bilioni 4, ambazo sio tu ni malighafi inayojitosheleza kwa uzalishaji wa kemikali za makaa ya mawe kwa ajili ya bidhaa za taka zinazooza, lakini pia kwa gharama ya chini. Kwa mujibu wa Liu Zhongming, mkuu wa taasisi ya kemia na fizikia katika Akademia ya Sayansi ya China, kubadilisha plastiki ngumu kwa zile zinazooza ni mwelekeo wa kimataifa. Kwa mujibu wa nyakara za karibuni, ni wazi kuwa nchi inaongeza kasi ya mchakato huo. China imepata maendeleo kwa uzalishaji wa plastiki zinazooza katika viwanda vya kemikali za makaa. Hivyo China iko katika nafasi ya uongozi duniani kutoka uendelezaji mpaka majaribio na matumizi ya teknolojia hiyo. China imejitahidi kupanua matumizi ya plastiki zinazooza katika wilaya za ngazi ya mijini mpaka kufikia mwisho wa mwaka huu. Kwa mujibu wa mpango uliotolewa mwaka 2020 kwa pamoja na Tume ya Taifa ya Maendeleo na Mageuzi na Wizara ya Ekolojia na Mazingira. Chini ya mwongozo wa mpango huo, bidhaa za plastiki ngumu zitazuiwa kutumika kwenye maduka ya dawa, kufungia chakula, virushi na maeneo mengine katika maeneo ya wilaya zilizo katika ngazi ya miji na kaunti katika maeneo ya pwani itakapofikia mwisho wa mwaka huu. Mapendekezo mawili ya vigezo vya kitaifa kuhusu bidhaa za taka za kibiolojia zinazooza yalianza kutekelezwa Juni mosi na kuongeza kidhahiri kasi ya matumizi ya bidhaa za taka zinazooza. Haya, kwa leo kipindi hiki kinaishia hapa. Katika kipindi kijacho nitaendelea kukuletea mambo mengine yanayovutia kuhusu utamaduni na jamii ya China. Asante kwa kuwa nami. Mimi ni Zakia Peng. Kwa heri.
Mtazamaji, makala hiyo ya Ifahamu China inatukamilishia kurunzi mashinani Alhamisi ya leo. Nasema shukrani sana kwa wale wote waliofanikisha taarifa hizi. Nasema shukrani sana pia mtazamaji kwa muda wako. Na kusihi usiende mbali, kwani na rejea na kipindi cha Tamrini. Na kusihi usiende mbali mtazamaji. Mimi ni Khalid Abdullah, anayenisaidia lugha ishara ni Byron Abuli.